latest episode of the Lisa Pezik Show. Ooh, friends, I did not wear eye makeup today for a reason, because I have the most incredible people on my podcast today. And we're going to be talking about running your own race when you are told that you can't do something, how you don't take that in, or maybe you take it in for a second and you quickly get rid of it. How you change that replay tape in your head, you stay in your lane, and you champion other people along the way, whether that's business or relationship or health or whatever thing you want to do in this world. And I have my friend, Jenny, who is a fierce mama bear, fierce lover of people, who I cannot wait to introduce and have talking here in a moment, and her daughter, Taylor. And I'm not going to tell you what happened to Taylor. I'm going to let Taylor tell you in her words, her story, and what she overcame and is currently overcoming. And Taylor, how old are you now?
I'm 20.
She's 20. So this girl, this lady, this gal has the wisdom. She's an old soul, and she has the wisdom of like a 90-year-old. Let me tell you, you're going to feel like you're talking to grandma when you hear this woman talk. And she's 20. This is our future. This is our world. These are our leaders. So I'm so honored to have them on here today. So welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So Jenny and I met through network marketing. Actually, we were Beachbody coaches together, but that's kind of the sliver of, we learned about personal development, and we learned about working on ourselves, and we learned about helping others. And that was the thread that brought us together and why we're still so connected. But let's dive in. So Taylor, tell us a bit about what's going on in your life and what happened to you.
So when I was 16, I got bucked off a horse and broke my back. I broke my T5, T6. And so technically right now I'm paralyzed from my chest down. And I still ride. I still do everything. In the beginning, it was a little bit harder for me just to kind of process everything. I still try to have a really positive outlook on it, because my big thing is everything happens for a reason. So I really just kind of like focused on myself and what made me happy for a while. I did therapy in the beginning, and then it got a little bit too much for me. I got a little burnt out. So I took a little break and just got into my riding and working on myself in riding, because that's where I'm happiest and that's where I strive and see all my goals be accomplished. So when I get in like a zone where I'm like, oh, like I haven't seen that many changes recently, I'll go do something with my horse that is different and like crazy to some people. But I just do that because that makes me so much happier. And now I'm in therapy twice a week, and I do therapy from home, and I'm riding I try to go every day at least to just take care of her. Ride every day. I'm not a ton, but like I try to get out at least an hour. So I've been doing that. It's taken me a good amount of time to get to where I'm at right now, but I finally just started loping the barrel pattern. So that's kind of what I've been like striving to get to for these past 4 years. And so I started loping the barrel pattern and the pole pattern just these past couple months. And I actually rode bareback last Wednesday, just for fun. Obviously I had a bubble around me just in case, because it takes a lot of leg to ride a horse without anything. And I don't have, like, I have those muscles, but I can't contract them to hold myself on by myself yet. And like pulling my foot up for posture. So I can't really do 100% of that yet. So I had a little bubble around me, but we made it a lap, and I just got to hug her and stuff, and it was really great. So everything's been going really good now.
I love that you have this devastating injury, this life-changing injury. And maybe we'll dig into, is it really devastating? Yes, in some ways it's devastating. In some ways, at 20 years old, you've turned this into a beautiful message and mission. But I love that you went back to what you know and you went back to what you love.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure that you can get conflicting opinions and doctors' opinions and therapist opinions and PT opinions and of how to heal yourself. And all of that is great. And you take it in and you do what they tell you and you take what you want. But I love that it sounds like your true healing, your soul healing, is coming from getting back on that horse.
100%. And yes, a lot of people did tell me in the beginning, I got back on 4 months after my injury. And
as soon as she was released.
Yeah.
Wow.
Patient therapy. There was no, like, it was like, as soon as she could get back in, she was in. But to go back while she was in patient therapy, she said, she saw that like her fun show at the barn, they do 2 shows per year, fall and spring. Mm-hmm. She said, now mind you, this was July. And she said, Mom, I want to ride in the October fun show. And I was like, okay, so that means I have to go get your saddle, go pick up your saddle and bring it to therapy now. So I had to talk with her therapist and I said, listen, she's got a goal. She wants to get back on her horse and do this in October. And I'm like, we have 4 months to get there. What do we have to do to get there? And he was like, confused. Mm-hmm. Wasn't maybe on board all the way, but I go, you know what? We're going to do what it takes to get her there. She has a goal. We're going to accomplish it. So yeah, I left therapy. I left downtown and I drove like an hour and a half home and I went to get her saddle and bring it back down. And they started getting her on her saddle, in her saddle, like every day. It was interesting, but that was just the beginning for her right there.
And you had challenges in the beginning with being told what you can and can't do. Yeah. So, I love that we're talking about you had a goal and you're getting on that saddle and 4 months later, I mean, you're paralyzed from the waist down, right? You said? The chest down. So you were paralyzed from the chest down. Mm-hmm. What did the doctors tell you about your prognosis? Like 4 years now, where are you supposed to be right now? Or what did the doctors tell you about your prognosis?
Well, in the beginning, my spinal cord injury doctor that repaired my back came in to the hospital room and was like, hey, like the first day, he was like, hey, your attitude is so great. You're going to get so far in life. Like, it's going to be great. And then the next time I went to see him, I regained a couple like little things. And I mean, they were big things for me, but they weren't anything for him. He was just like, you'll probably be stuck like this. So why even try? Pretty much is what I got from that and what I took away from it. So that was hard on me because I was excited to like show him what I regained and stuff.
She could invert her foot.
Yeah.
Like she literally was wiggling, like moving her foot. And we were so excited. I was like literally inside as a mom. I'm like, oh my God. It's like hope. There's hope. And then you go there and then and he's like totally just blew it off. Like, he's like, yeah, that's just no big deal. Like that's normal and stuff like that. He goes, yeah, basically downplayed it and was like, yeah. I mean, we drove home, like she was crying.
I was like, I'm kind of done. Like, you need to stop pushing me. I need to do my own thing. And like, that's what I said, like to
me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I needed a break kind of from everything, and not saying like I didn't want to stop trying. I just needed time to process everything. Because I processed everything so fast in the hospital, and I was like, I'm going to walk again. I'm going to ride again. I didn't even know what happened to me. Like, I mean, I was awake the whole time. But I didn't really know the extent of my injuries at that time. Just laying in the, like, ER, I was like, I'm going to walk again. I'm going to ride again, no matter what. I don't know what, like, injuries I have inside of me right now, but I can do it. I'll be fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, that's just my attitude all the time with everything. I'm really...
I stop you for a second and say that is not normal And that is beautiful, because if more of the world had an attitude like that, what would we create? What would this world look like? It's so easy to play the victim. It's so easy to play, oh, woe is me, and look at what happened to me, and to go into the blame and the anger. And not to say that, I'm sure you maybe went through a bit of anger and emotions and processing and dark days, but you didn't stay there.
Yeah. No, I kind of give myself like 3-day, if I'm in a bad mood, I give myself like 3 days to kind of just say, okay, I can have my bad days, and then snap out of it, because stop feeling sorry for yourself. You're fine. Because like
that.
honestly, if I think about things too much, I'm a very, very big overthinker. And like that, I'll admit, no matter what, like I overthink my overthinking a lot. It's really bad. But like everybody has flaws. And I mean, like if I think about it too much, like I said, the overthinking, if I think about things too much that upset me, then I just get in a deep hole, and I don't like being there. Like, it's just not fun for me. I wake up crabby, then I yell at my mom, and then she gets mad at me, and it's just not worth it. Like, honestly, that annoys me even more than me being annoyed at the thing before. So I
Did you get that?
I did. I stayed with that. I totally got that. That awareness piece is huge, that many adults can't even, like, I mean, you are an adult, but you know what I mean? Like, can't process.
I had to learn this at 16, so I was still a little bit, I didn't really get to be a teenager, but I never really was. I just kind of grew up, and I was like, yep, like, I want to say like 13 or 14, I was just like, these children annoy me, because I was a lot older than them in my mind, even though I was one of the youngest ones in my class. I just was like, you guys are all annoying. Like, why do you do stupid things? Like, you're children.
She never got along with kids her age ever. Growing up at 3 years old, I remember her grandpa, my dad, and he was like, here's Taylor sitting at the table with them like this, got like staring at them. And she's 3. And he's like, he looks at me, he's like, how old is she? Yeah, she's 3. No, she's not. This is like a 20-year-old right now at 3 years old speaking to us right now. She just like resonated with adults like early on.
Yeah.
And so she had a hard time growing up, because she really didn't have a lot of friends, because she didn't know how to get along with them. Like she was like, it just didn't feel right to her. So, I think it's a good thing, but yeah, growing up, I think it's hard, because you feel like you're different, because you're like, wow, nobody wants to be around me, or I don't want to be around them. Like, what's wrong with me? Yeah. And this is it. Being an old soul, having that gift early on, you not understanding that early, I think is hard, but now she gets it.
Yeah. And talk to me, Jenny, about, I can't even process or imagine how quickly as a mom, and I mean, especially you, Taylor, you're the one who is living this and going through this. This is your everyday reality. How quickly things can change. Like that night, I remember watching on Facebook, like you posting the video of her being helicoptered. Like, tell me a bit about how that was, where like, typical day, she goes off to her practice, ride the horse, you're doing your thing, love you, bye. And the next thing you know, it's like accident, life-changing. Like, what was that like to process, or phone call, or what was that like?
That morning, I'll take you back to that Wednesday. I was on a Beachbody Zoom with Trina Gray. It's the Diamond Call, right? Every Wednesday morning, 8:00 my time. I also had to get ready for the salon that day. So she literally just a week ago, or like a week before that, June 1st, got her license. She turned 16 May 30th. She got her license immediately. She started working. She started driving. And I was like, because she's my oldest. So I have 4 kids, and I'm a single mom. And I'm like, yes, I have help. Yes.
And running, listeners, if you didn't get the salon, running a very successful hair salon studio business that you built from nada. Right?
I was 22 years old when I opened up that. Yeah. It was my first baby. And so I was going to work, and you know, just a lot going on that Wednesday, but that's just how my days worked. It was like workhorse. You just go, 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 go. And I felt terrible because I was upstairs trying to get myself ready. I was listening to that call. She's getting ready to leave and she's calling my name, and I'm upstairs and she's down here. And I was just like, I kind of snapped in a way, and I was like, what? Because like I'm on this call and I'm trying to focus and I'm trying, you know, she's like, just wanted to let you know that I fed the dogs. I'm leaving. I love you. I hope you have a good day. And like, that was it. And like, little did I know like what was going to happen. Like that would be the last time for a long time that she would walk out of the house. Like never even processed that. Mm-hmm. So I literally just went on with my day. I went to the salon, listening to that call the whole way there. I get there, I get off, I start working. And now mind you, the next day, June 9th. So think about this, owning a business, right? We always want more employees and people. Mm-hmm. Like for 22 years, I've owned this business. Well, I'm sorry. Like at that time, it was like, whatever, 27 years.
Yeah.
And we were looking for employees to come and work. So the law of attraction, the universe has your back. This stuff is real. Like this is real, because this story will just kind of confirm it. I literally for years, I put ads out there, kept looking for help, renters. 9 weeks before this happened, all of a sudden a woman calls me. Her salon is closing. She wanted to come and rent chairs from us. Out of the blue. After they came, so I was like, oh, that's like 4 people. Now 4 women coming to work and rent for me. Wow, like that's great. Then another one called. One of my old employees from years ago asked if I had a chair. Now that's 5 women coming. And guess what? They all started June 9th.
Wow.
So June 8th.
Wow.
So God knew, or the universe, whatever, knew what was going to happen, but protected me by having these women come and supplement my income while I was gone, or for whatever reason, what was going to happen. So I went in that day doing a few clients, and then I was writing on their mirrors, welcome, because I don't work on Thursdays when they were supposed to start. So I was getting the salon already, writing notes, calling the girls, hey, can you pick up some flowers and a cake maybe since I'm not here? I really want them to feel welcomed. And literally then I left that day. I had a half a day. She called me, just checking in, no big deal, just any other day. I get home. I have another client at home waiting for me. My boys are at summertime, no big deal, they're here. I get home, I start working immediately. Then I start making dinner, and then I get a call. Well, actually, she had called me and said, hey, Mom, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to stay here for a little while. I'm going to ride until traffic dies down with my friends. No problem. An hour later, the owner calls me, and she never calls me unless I owe money, right? So, and I'm like, why is she calling me?
Yeah.
And she didn't tell me. She didn't want to tell me what happened. She wanted me to get to the hospital safe, but they knew something major happened because they were running keys on her feet and she couldn't feel them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I called my mom, like, hey Mom, I have dinner in the oven. I don't know, Taylor, something happened at the barn. She fell. I don't know. They're taking her to the hospital. I have to go. Can you please come here and finish dinner? I'll keep you posted. Like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
She just was hurt. I'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't come back.
Just got bucked off, and you thought she maybe just got bucked off and thrown and jostled a bit, and
it's happened before.
Yeah.
She's fallen off before, and it's been no big deal. So they just said, her back's kind of hurting. We want to make sure that she's okay.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
I mean, the big thing is I laugh about it because I think it's funny. It's just my life. I have never broken a bone at this point. I had never broken a bone, never been to the ER, never had surgery. I was like kind of afraid of surgery and stuff like that. And just the thought of it, just like
go big or go home, right?
Yeah. So I got everything all at once.
Yeah.
But I mean, in a way, if I had to have surgery at least once in my life, at least it went that way, because if I had to think about it, I would never go to the hospital.
Right.
Like, I would just be like, nah, I'm just gonna go for a drive and not come back. Like, you don't know where I am. I'm not doing it. But yeah, it was intense. But I mean, a lot of people are surprised to hear that I never passed out. I was awake the whole time. So I knew everything that was happening the whole time. I was awake while they brought me in the ambulance. They tried to poke me with needles a bunch of times to give me some pain meds, and then they shoved something up my nose. I remember that very distinctly because they couldn't find a vein, and nobody can ever find a vein in my arm, and it's awful. But that's beside the point.
Wait, yeah.
Just, yeah. So, yeah, I remember everything pretty clear as day. The only thing, it gets a little fuzzy. I remember getting in the helicopter and the nurse telling me, don't fall asleep. And I said, I'm going to close my eyes for 2 seconds because I'm tired. And she's like, don't close your eyes. You have to stay awake. And I was like, okay. And then I closed my eyes, and that's all I remember. And then I had surgery, but apparently I was awake for like 4 more hours before surgery. Don't remember any of that. Yeah. That's the only thing I don't remember. But I remember waking up and stuff, and we did have some issues at the hospital. I almost lost my right hand because they had the surgical tape on too tight. Not a lot of people know that. But yeah, they had the surgical tape on my wrist too tight from surgery. And my mom was paying attention to everything on my body. And she noticed that
touching her from head to toe just to make sure she's okay and feel everything. It's just that mom thing. And I was like, her right hand is like dead cold.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was on so many pain medicines and stuff that I wasn't awake because I just had 2 rods and 14 screws put in my back. So I was just like out of it. And yeah. And so I remember the doctor coming in screaming, and then they were like, I'm sorry, this is going to hurt really bad. And they ripped the tape off.
He was screaming at the nurses because I went out to get somebody, and I was like, and I'm always like nice about everything. I don't yell at anybody, you know how that is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cause any drama or anything like that. But I'm like, excuse me. Can somebody come over here? I'm like, something's not right. And so literally then they ended up getting the doctor who was on staff that night. Literally, he was swearing at them. He's like, who effing did this? I mean, literally they had an ultrasound on her wrist for 3 days trying to find a pulse.
Wow.
Like, so my thing is I know right now in the pandemic, I know this is difficult to even say this, but in general, do not leave your loved one in the hospital. I don't care if you need to take turns with somebody who's going to have their back. Do not leave. I had 3 boys, young boys at home, but you know what? The family had to step in. Okay. My child needed me. And even if it happened to my boys, I would have done the same thing. You do not leave your loved ones, kids, anybody in the hospital because mistakes happen. Things happen. And that's not the only thing, that happened. Like, there's more to the story, but obviously her hand is okay and everything is good, but she was also overdosed. There's so much that I could go in. We would be on for like 2 hours telling you the story of the hospital, which is why I'm writing the book. So it'll be in the book. But the thing is that, in the very beginning, I remember walking into the ER, being greeted by the clergy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, hey, I'm here to see Taylor Jackson, I'm around, blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh, hold on 1 second.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, that energy went down like that. I was like, wow, walking down this long hall with the clergy asking me if I could call family members to join me. I'm going, what? For what?
Yeah. The way you're seeing this and the way I'm seeing this is a little bit different.
And I was like, is my daughter alive? Oh, yes. I go, then it's all good. Like, they literally freaked me out. I was scared now because now I was like, oh, maybe something major did happen. Now it's starting to mess with my head.
Right. The influence. You have to be careful of the influences and what people say to you and the energy people meet you with. My one really good friend, Edith, is a doctor, and her whole thing is around super wellness. and very similar to like Lou, who came and visited you guys. And my favorite thing that she says is that you are the boss and the healthcare team works for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
They work for you, not you listening to them. They are your employees. They work for you. You know your body. You know your energy. And it's making me think about, and you're saying, yeah, you got to advocate for your loved ones. You're not there to say you're doing it wrong.
Right.
I know better than you. But you're right. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot going on. And having worked in healthcare, when a mistake happens, it's rarely one person's fault. It's like a chain of events that happen. And when you're there as the family member, or you're there as the loved one to kind of oversee, and you've only got one thing you're focusing on. Like yes, your children at home, but you were like, I am here to focus on my daughter. That is the only thing I'm looking at. So you are like her eyes, her ears, her backup, her go-to person. I totally agree. And you have to advocate when your gut and your instinct and your intuition goes, something's not right. Okay, doctor, I know you're telling me this. Or okay, nurse, I know you're telling me this. But I know, my gut knows, my heart knows, my mind knows what's up. And that's one of the biggest disservices that we do in healthcare. We don't involve the family. We don't involve Taylor. You don't involve the you talk. They talk around her like she ain't there.
Yeah.
Or like she can't make any decisions for herself. Mm-hmm. Or they talk around the two of you like you're not there and it's not your life happening to you. You are not specimen A. You are human being. You're not the girl in room 402.
Yeah.
You are a human being. And if we can bring more humanness back to healthcare, maybe it will change. Right?
Yes. I remember I couldn't see her for a long time, and I was like, something was coming up. So I ended up like busting through this door. I didn't even know where I was going, but I just saw people coming in and out, and I entered in the ER, and I was like, I see all these rooms with curtains, and they were just about to like close her drape. And I was like, I heard Taylor. I go, that's my daughter. They're like, oh, your mom, and all this stuff. And literally they were like, the reason why I couldn't see her is they were actually getting her prepped to fly. She needed to get out as soon as possible. So she's on the stretcher, and then she's all down. Yes. Yeah. And I walk into seeing this big headgear, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, does anybody want to tell me what's happening here? Right.
And I'm just like, she's kind of like can't move. And like all these, like, they're really getting ready to take her out. I'm like, well, where are you going? I just got her.
Yes.
What? And all of that. And so as they were doing some work, they pulled me out in the hallway and the doctor said, your mom? Yeah. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, mom forever and ever and ever. Hate to tell you, Taylor, she's mom forever. And ever and ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he literally says, we did an MRI, and he might have said some other words, but literally the only thing that I heard was, she will never walk again. And I was like, what? She'll never walk again. I said, what'd you say?
Yeah, I think, did I hear you right? I don't think I heard you right.
And he's like, so we, here's her scan. But I go, hold up. You just gotta stop. You gotta stop saying those words. Because I know for me, and not a lot of people know this, and you know this, words are powerful. You do not put that stuff out to the universe. You're not saying that, you know what, if anybody's gonna say it, it would be her. You're not gonna have the power of that. I was like, just stop right now. I go, we're not having any of this right now. I go, you could keep your medical terms to yourself. I'm going to see my daughter. And I left him. Yeah. Now, when her dad heard that, her dad he doesn't have personal development under his growth.
Or emotions.
We love dad. We love dad, but just, dad hasn't worked on himself in that way. And he lost it. He literally was like collapsing and bawling and like literally almost like she died. And I was like, you need to, honey, I'm like, seriously, like you need to, like, I took him by the shoulders and I was looking at him in the eye and I'm like, she's gonna be fine. did you hear him? And I'm like, I know I'm not listening to him. She's going to be fine.
It was funny though, because his reaction, like when he walked in, I was like, hey Dad, what's up? And he was like, oh, hey.
She literally
like,
was consoling everybody that came into the room to see her. Like everybody. She literally was, right before she was being airlifted, she's like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to walk again and I'm going to ride again. I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
At 16 years old. And like that moment, like she just instilled this power inside of me. Like I knew I was on a whole different path. I knew that what I knew before, like what I was doing before, was not going to be coming up in the, you know, in that year or whatever. Like I knew, I was like, all right, game on. What do we, you know, what's, again, I didn't know, like I had no clue. I just knew and I trusted and believed that everything was going to be okay. We were going to have some roadblocks. We were going to have some hard times, but I'm like, whatever it is, just like get the negativity out of our way. Like, let's focus. Let's do what we have to do to get her better.
Yeah, it's amazing how ninja you become in your boundaries. Like for you to even just be like, nope, not hearing that. Not dealing with that energy. Dad, pull yourself together.
I think I told him to F off. I really did. But
so
you know.
nice mom became don't F with my child's mindset.
Yeah.
And our mindset and what we got going on in our family. And something that comes up for me, Taylor, like hearing you talk and even you consoling other people through the whole thing, this doesn't define you. Like how many times you hear, oh, that's Betty Jean who has cancer, or that's Jane who has cystic fibrosis, or that's John who has autism, or like, you're not like, hi, I'm Taylor and I'm paralyzed.
Yeah, no, I don't see myself as that at all. I mean, I do have a wheelchair and yeah, I can't walk right now, but like, I'm just Taylor. Like that's the big thing. Like my mom, she gives me crap all the time for it. I love her, but I personally don't see I see how I can influence people and how I can be an inspiration to people, but I don't see that in myself. I know I am, and she's told me a million times, but no matter how many times anybody says it, I just don't see it in myself. I just say I'm just Taylor. I'm just living my life. Like this is just me. Like I am just doing what I do. And if that inspires people, that's great. But I just don't see that as myself. I don't put that title as myself. Like I'm not, hey Taylor, I'm paralyzed. I'm inspirational. Look at me. Like I'm just Taylor. Like
right. There's this piece about being a reluctant leader. Meaning that you're not looking to go, hey everyone, here's what I do. Yeah, like, I'm gonna do my thing, and if that inspires you, then great.
Yeah.
And that's what does inspire people. I can't tell you, like personally, kiddo, I can tell you, like there are days when I'm like, I don't want to work out today. And then I'm like, but I have my legs and I can walk and I can run and I can do it. And get your butt moving, Lisa, because other people do not have the same, you know, ease of being able to walk and move and go. And I always think about you and I'm like, I don't wanna. How many times do we have that, right? Where we take for granted the simple, I mean, if you'll share, what are some of the things that you had to relearn? The things that we just take for granted, like getting up out of the chair, going for a run, going for a walk, going to get yourself a snack at midnight from the kitchen. Like, what were some of the things you had to relearn to do?
Yeah, well, the big thing for me is I am a very aggressive sleeper, I would say. Like I used to like turn a lot. Like it takes me a long time to find that comfortable position and then I stay there the rest of the night. But you don't think about it, like just turning over and moving and stuff while you sleep. And then spinal cord injury, you have to sit up, you have to grab your leg, you have to move over, you have to put your leg over the other side, you have to put a pillow in between your legs, and then you have to make sure like everything is adjusted so you don't have any accidents. And that's my big thing is I do it a lot more now, but before, like the early stages, For me, I was like, oh my God, no, that's way too much work. Now I'm a lot more active, so it's easier for me to just get up, throw my legs somewhere, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm fine. That's fine. Or like getting up at midnight to get a snack. If I'm thirsty and I don't have somebody that gets me water before I go to bed and I need water, then I have to get up. I have to find a cup because they're always in a cabinet that I can't reach. Oh,
our house is not like really 100% wheelchair. I mean, it is, but it's not yet, because of course in the beginning I refused a lot. People wanted to come in and like do all this stuff. I go, are you nuts? No, you're not modifying my house. She's going to walk again. What is wrong with you? No, I'm not doing that to my house. No, I don't want a ramp. No, I don't want this. So yes, I did turn down a lot of things because in my mindset right away and her, we were both just this, she's going to walk again, just like that.
Oh, I love that. There's so much power in what you just said. I know you just said that, like you just said that, but there's so much power in that you didn't allow that to even be an option.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like,
even an option.
They thought the doc, like her PT over and over, not the one now, early on. I was like, they want to get her on a bus. I go, why are you going to spend 2 hours therapy session getting on a bus when we don't even have buses around us?
I don't live by a bus. I live in the suburb.
And I was just like, all these things of like, well, she needs this and she needs that. And I go, what about getting her walking? Like, you're not doing anything to get her on her feet again. In my mind, I was like, we're not born to like sit in a chair.
Right.
Why are you not getting her on her feet? There has to be something. We're doing physical therapy. But in their eyes, in the beginning stages, they have to teach her to live like this.
It's just about wheelchair skills and stuff like that, which I understand. Some of it's a necessity, but like I lifted weights way too much, like way more than I should have. He's like, wow, you're super strong. So you would have to take me up to the like actual spinal cord injury floor because I work with horses and I'm used to lifting.
Yeah, you were active.
She was like saddles and stuff like that over her head for like since she was 5. Like she's been doing that.
I'm relatively strong in my upper body. Like I was already relatively strong in my upper body for that. So we always had to go up to the 7th floor, and I think it was 7th. I don't remember. I just remember it was the spinal cord injury floor. And just lifting weights up there and stuff because they had the heavier ones because I was on the peds floor still. And it was like hard because I did tell him my goals and he just really wasn't like that big into it with me. And I was like, you guys are supposed to be the best place ever. And it really
like downtown Chicago, it's supposed to be, the best around.
But I did have a lot of good PTs there. Like I worked with kind of everybody, and you just have your one primary and then you work with other people when they can't come. Right. And I had a lot of great people that I really liked, and just I didn't have that like connection with my PT. Like he just didn't understand me. I didn't really understand him. Like he was a nice person, and I'm not a person that gets into conflict with people because I hate that. Like I just am a nice person and I do my thing and I don't complain. Like I try not to complain. At home, it's a different story. I complain a lot, but I try to not do that as much.
Yeah.
So you do it
but
too.
There comes a point when if you don't jive with that person that's supposed to help you got to say something or you got to change.
That was my thing, was that there was a PT there that she really connected with, and I saw the way that he was, and he was motivating. Like he was such a cool guy. Like he was high-fiving the kid, like whoever was where, he's like, yes, good job. Like literally that motivation that that we're used to. Yeah. Where
the energy, you felt the energy.
But he was like, he uplifted you. Yeah. He literally praised you for such a good job like that day. And I was like, I want to work with Mike. I want to work. Yeah. And she's, mom. Like I literally wanted to say something. And she's like, Mom, he's fine. Just, it's okay. It's all good. Whatever. And He's got headphones on. He's trying to cook something. I'm like, you can't. Thank you.
Don't burn the house down. Mom's on and Sissy's on a podcast, please.
But and I was just like, I was so hurt because anytime I would say that she's gonna walk, I go, don't worry, she doesn't need that. She's gonna walk again. He literally would like look at me behind her back, like with like, what is wrong with you, woman? What is wrong with you? And that's been the problem that I had for the first couple of years was like, why are you giving her false hope? Why are you doing this? Why are you telling her she could do this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? And I literally at times I was like telling her like, you know, do this. I'm like, please don't let them get in your head. Don't. I go, the power is within you. You have the power.
How many times parents, that is resonating so true with me. That I think about there's how many times like a teacher will say something to Oliver and we'll be like, yeah, Oliver, come here. Don't listen to a word she just said, right? Or like a coach will say something or you're like, okay. And then you're like, hey, kid, get over here. Like we have to protect that. Yeah. Or even you, I'm sure there's times, you know, Taylor, you're like, yep, I am not listening to a single freaking word.
Yeah, I'm really good at zoning things out.
That's a skill. That's a skill.
I mean, I have 3 brothers, so I learned it very young too. They're very obnoxious sometimes, and I'm really good at that.
Do you ever, I hope this is okay that I asked this question.
Of course.
Do you ever get like weird looks from people or like other kids your age? Like, is there judgment that goes on with you being in a wheelchair and all of that?
I have. It doesn't happen as much as you would think for me personally. I know a lot of people get it. But my big thing is like, just ask me what happened. Don't stare at me. Like I make people uncomfortable if they stare at me. So I do a weird wave or something. I'm like, hey, what's up? I stare. Like, yeah, you know. I just like
hashtag you're staring. Hi.
I know. I told my mom as soon as this happened, I was like, I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says I'm in it for the or for the good parking. Or there was other things. I don't even know. But I'm super, super sarcastic about it. Just because you have to be. You have to laugh about it. Otherwise you cry, and crying is not fun.
You want to fly with Taylor, you get the perks. I'm telling you, like, I'll hire her out. You can fly with her. You get on first, you know, and everything. It's, you know, we have to make the best of it. And really, we like to joke and really don't take things serious. Like, it's like, oh, you know.
Yeah. No. So yeah, I do, like I said, sometimes get stares. And I feel like sometimes that influences like the people I hang around because they like, not anymore, but before my friends, if we'd go out and I'd get stares, I feel like it would make them uncomfortable too. And they didn't really understand that. But I was like, it's me, like it just me. That's why I dye, well, not why I dye my hair fun colors, but like if you're gonna stare at something, stare at my hair at least.
Yeah, podcast listeners, you can't see Taylor has pink hair and Jenny has purple hair. So there it is.
And usually my hair is purple and teal. But like that when it's normal, you know, something's up. Like I'm just in a mood. This is normal for me. So yeah,
Whenever we go places though, she's like, you know, she thinks that just because I post on social media and like I have her story out there that people know her. I'm like, girl, it's the hair. You know, I'm like, come on, you're
oh no. I've gotten, oh my God, you're Taylor, that Taylor. Yeah, I'm Taylor. What's up?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know me, but I know your mom and I follow your story and we're just at Target getting groceries. Yeah.
Inspiring the world, whether you like it or not. But I love to go back really quickly. I just love the power of what you said, where you're like, if you don't know, just ask me.
Yeah.
What happened to me? You see somebody with a weird birthmark or a disability or in a wheelchair, and you want to know, don't stare, just ask them.
And you can usually, like, I mean, some people cannot read people to save their lives, but I'm pretty good at reading people. And I feel like sometimes I'm a little, like, I make people uncomfortable at how positive I am. I can see it. They're like, wow, I was not expecting that, like, from you. Like, even yesterday, I had a lady that asked me what happened. I told her, and she goes, you're just so bright and bubbly. Like, we don't see anybody like that. But she lives in Chicago.
Sorry. Sorry. You know.
You have kids and dogs. Yeah, it's because you're not playing into this is how you're supposed to feel. Oh, I'm Taylor with a spinal cord injury. I'm supposed to be gloom and doom and look at me. And you're not playing into the picture that the world is painting of you.
Yep.
You're like,
you have to be your own person. You can't let statistics define you. That's like one of my big things too. Like, because spinal cord injuries, like every single one of them is different. So that's why it's hard for them to find a like cure for them. Everybody's spine is different. So you can't say this thing worked for this person, so let's do it for you and hope for the same results. It just doesn't work that way. So you kind of have to like play around with it and do a bunch of different things, which is why I'm still riding as much as I am, or as much as I can, because that's what makes me feel stronger.
yeah.
And too, emotionally and physically. Like you'd see a lot of people with spinal cord injuries that have a lot of atrophy, and my legs don't really have any. Like my calves a little bit, like you can definitely tell, but my quads are still as strong as they were before. They're still big. And I've seen a lot of people that have a lot skinnier legs right after their injury, even if they're working out, but like my legs have stayed their normal size pretty much. So I think the riding is a huge thing, because even though I'm subconsciously using my muscles because they have to do
memory.
So,
yeah. What's going to be the first thing you're going to do when you walk again? Where are you going to go? What you going to do?
I have never had this question. That is fascinating to me, and I have no idea. It's a great question. Well, obviously I'll be at the barn when I'm walking. That's like my first thing by far, is just walking my horse, because she's just amazing and I just connect with her a lot better than even people. Like she gets me, I get her, we're the same. We're just in our little bubble. She doesn't like other horses. I don't really like other people, but I like people, don't get me wrong.
I know what you're saying.
Yes. I'm just very, I like to be around animals more than people, just because they're so much like more intuitive than us, and they know so many things even though they can't talk, and that just fascinates me. So around that, and then I think when I do walk, my dad's side of the family is from Italy, and I've always wanted to see where they grew up, because my dad was born in Italy. So probably when I walk again, I'll probably go there after the barn, and see what it's like there, because I always have been fascinated in other cultures and how people live in different parts of the world. I want to travel to all 50 states eventually, but I really want to go to Paris and Italy, so probably do a Europe trip. I probably won't push myself too hard, because I think I'll try, but I think that's definitely probably what I'm gonna aim towards.
It'll be like Forrest Gump. She won't be able to stop. Right.
I mean, the both of you are already making huge ripples in this world, and I'm excited to see those pictures of you in the barn and walking around Italy and traveling those 50 states and doing all of that. What would be your final? I can't believe we're at time. I'm so sad. Will you come on again? Will you guys come on my podcast again, please?
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm like, I am sad that I have to cut this bad boy off. Jenny, when we talked, when your mom had me on, we talked for like 2.5 hours, like crazy, right? Please tell me you will come on again.
Of course.
Awesome. What is the final? Like somebody who is not as strong as you mentally, somebody who is really just like, this happened, I got in a car accident, I lost my job, the person I love left me. whatever reality they're dealing in, and they have like lost hope, what is something you can tell them where they can, what's one thing they can do to instill that hope again in their life?
I would say, just kind of, how do I word this? Let's see. So my big thing for that would be, somebody else's situation is always worse than yours, and I don't like to put it that way, but that's the only way that's coming to my mind right now. When I was in the hospital, I saw a lot of cases worse than me, and of course you fall into a state where you do pity yourself at times, and I was able to snap out of that a lot easier than some people. But my big thing is, somebody else's situation is way worse. They might not have a home to go to. They might be a quadriplegic. They might not be able to do the things that you can do. So just because you're in your situation, your bubble, you have to look at the whole general, like, impact on everybody too. Like, it impacts your family if you're in a bad mood too. So you have to think about others versus yourself. You don't be so selfish in a way, not saying that in a mean way, but like just kind of putting things into perspective and saying, okay, this thing did happen to me, and it's very hard to snap out of because I've been there, and it takes a while. But I would say to give yourself like a 3-day pity party. You're allowed that. That's fine. And you can have it every
That's her
once.
signature.
Yeah, you can
love
have
that.
it every once in a while. Like, that's fine. It doesn't have to just be 3 days and then never again, because we're human. We go through a lot of things, and it is hard. Life is hard, but you have to really put into perspective, what do you want to get out of life? Do you want to sit and just complain about things that have happened to you, or do you want to make a change? Because a lot of people, if you ask them that, they kind of just sit back and they're like, whoa, like, wait, do I really want, like, what do I really want to do? What am I doing with my life? So you kind of just have to put things into perspective, and yes, have those 3 days to yourself, and then you can have them again in a month or two, whatever. It doesn't have to be, not right away, because that's not okay. Like, don't have 3 days, take a day, and then have 3 more days. Like that, no. But really just kind of, like I said, put it into perspective for yourself and say, somebody else's situation could be a lot worse than mine, so why am I complaining about it? Like, and you can complain about it because it's a thing that happened to you, but you can snap out of it too. It is a hard thing to do, but you can do it. I mean, it comes a lot easier to me because I've been doing it for so long now. But in the beginning, it wasn't that easy. Like, I would have times where I was just like, just please leave me alone. Like, I don't want, like, and I hide it very well from people. It's usually just when I'm at home, so my mom gets the like back end of it, which isn't fair, but like, it's life,
It's okay.
Yeah.
But
we all need somebody to lean on.
Yeah, that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
Having a good support system is a big thing too. I would say. I just want to add that in. But yeah.
I love that 3-day pity party. Snap out of it. Get real with yourself. Have that support system. Oh my God, I can go on forever. I mean, even the whole toxic positivity, you're right. It's not okay. It's not okay to be down in the dumps all the time, but it's also not okay to never feel your emotions and never process and never be able to identify that. So I love how you've beautifully framed that, as well as realizing that you are one human in this whole entire world, and that we are all connected, and someone else, what you complain about, someone else wishes they had. Someone who's completely paralyzed from the neck down wishes they had what you have from the chest down, right? Someone who's complaining about having to stay home on their couch in coronavirus, a homeless person would die to have a couch to stay home on. Right? So I love how beautifully you framed that. You are so wise for your age, and you probably hear that a lot. And I am proud that you are a future leader, because I have a 6-year-old. So he's going to be looking up to you. He's going to be listening to you. You're going to be the person making change. You're impacting our generations moving forward. And I know that if more people can be like you, there is hope for this world, right? You guys, we're at the end of our time. Listeners, go back to this again. This is like a how to do life episode. Please go back to this. Please take notes. Please share this. I think this is a message that is so needed in the world right now. And the way that it was told, it was so honest and vulnerable and true. How can they get a hold of you? You've got a book coming. You've got, if they want to know more about Taylor or you, Jenny, or what you've got going on, how can they best reach out to you?
We are on social media. I mean, Taylor has her own account where she just has her life. It's really not about therapy. It's just about her horse riding and just hey. I also have a page for her physical therapy where I do update on you know, her progress and what we've been doing, you know, everything that we've been doing. People love to follow her journey and her therapies and what, you know, other new things that we're trying. So we have that on IG and we could post that in the comments, but Taylor Strong 16 on IG. Taylor's just I'm_Taylor on Instagram. Same thing on Facebook. On Facebook, it would be Taylor Strong. And she is the one with the horses and on a horse because there are a couple Taylor Strongs out there.
I will make sure, guys, if you're driving or wherever you are, I will put all of that in the show notes so that you can get in touch with these beautiful humans. And I'm going to have you back. Yeah. This is like part 1 of like 4, I think, or something. That is
to be continued. Yes. We have so much more.
Oh my gosh. To be continued. Thank you so much to both of you for being here. And listeners, thank you for tuning in. You are so important. Oh, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Everybody, you are so needed. Your message is so needed. Be brave. Be brave enough to share like Taylor and Jenny just did because you never know who needs to hear your message. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.